Doctor Who is back.
Hello.
Not only is he back, he's double back because he's already been back.
Oh, that's true.
And it's not like where you go back in time and you see like a different, like you see him in the past and where they had the Matt Smith, David Tennant.
Yeah.
This is like he's regenerated into himself.
Could it be triple back?
Oh my god.
Because there's the original 10th Doctor, David Tennant.
Yep.
But then didn't he regenerate back into himself off screen because he was vain?
Oh, he also once regenerated from his severed hand into a human version of himself.
Human who lives in another dimension?
Correct.
Right.
With Rose.
But now he's back.
Now he's
for
back.
the third or fourth time, maybe.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So look, there's 3 Doctor Who 2023 specials which star David Tennant.
That's right.
Returning.
And Catherine Tate.
And Catherine Tate, that's right. They're both returning to their respective roles, Mason.
They've respected roles.
What do you think the story was?
Oh, come on, mate.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, here we go. It's going to be tricky.
Yep.
First of all, I had some trouble finding these because I went to the ABC, formerly the home of Doctor Who.
They're not there anymore.
In Australia, they're not there anymore because they're on Disney Plus.
That's right.
And you can tell.
Oh boy, can you?
You can tell.
So did they?
Disney's bankrolling
Did
these.
they? Or did
think
they? Or are they just distributing them?
Oh, I don't know.
Let me find out. I think there's some kind of deal. Mm-hmm. Let me check.
All right, okay.
But anyway, you do the story and I'll figure that out.
So here, they're back and
Yeah.
there's 3 Doctor Who specials. So we're going to cover the 3 classic Doctor Who genres. 1,
Yes.
there's a cute little creature that's probably more sinister than you thought initially.
Whoa.
2, the Doctor and his companion are stuck in a room.
Whoa.
3, a guy shows up and tries to destroy the world. That's the 3.
That's the 3.
Those
It's the
are
3
3
things that
Doctors.
happens.
Yeah, that's right. Classics, one and all.
I know they're okay. So it
And
looks.
the third one is where they do all the budget. They blow all the budget. So, like,
So it looks as if, it is Disney backed budget. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that'll do it. I mean, and you can definitely tell because I watched some clips of like some of the earlier David Tennant stuff, and I just don't remember it looking that shitty.
well, it was a quantum leap for the time.
it was,
like when it came to Eccleston.
Yeah.
I think I even commented at the time when it kicked off with Eccleston as 9.
Yeah.
I was like, this is what kids imagined in their heads when they watched Doctor Who back in the day. Like it was just them running through styrofoam corridors.
Yeah.
And fighting styrofoam monsters, but in your head you imagined it as being real, and that's how it felt.
Yeah.
with the Eccleston at the time, but it doesn't look great.
No. I mean, I think like a lot of those stories definitely hold up.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that they do on like they make use of the budget or they'll use real environments or just outdoors.
Oh, the out of doors.
It just looks better.
My goodness.
But there's like giant corridors in this, like huge space station.
The new Dalek the new TARDIS interior.
Yeah, it looks
There's
incredible.
no Daleks in this.
No.
Spoil it.
Spoiler alert.
Reverse spoilers. There's no Daleks.
That's right.
this.
But I mean, just in general, how did you feel about these?
I
though?
had a lot of fun with these.
Me too.
Generally speaking, as I've said before on this podcast, I'll watch the new season, I'll watch the first couple of episodes, maybe the Christmas special.
And then you bounce.
And the introduction of the new Doctor, and I'm like, well, this could be a kind of show. It's the kind of show I should like.
Yeah.
Based on all the other stuff I like. I should get into this, and then I'll watch maybe one more episode, and I'm like, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
So I guess it remains to be seen. Like when the new series starts, I guess I'll have a couple of episodes, and I'll see how we go.
I know a lot of people also, they didn't like the last era, the Chibnall era.
Sure, okay.
Which I missed most, if not all of.
Sure.
Same with you, like I came back, I stayed around to like the first couple of Capaldi and then I dipped. And then I came back in for a couple of the Jodie Whittaker ones and then I left that. So, and it could very well be the same here.
Yeah. Look, I'll tell you this. The first episode, the first special doesn't start strong because it's just David Tennant sort of floating in space. Like he's just standing there in a green screen and you see a sun or whatever and he's like, let me tell you a tale about the Doctor and Donna or whatever. And I'm like, this is not promising.
I think there's some stuff here because Russell T Davies is back as well, who rebooted it in the first place, and then he handed off to Moffat and whatever and so forth. But I think everything you kind of like or don't like about him, like that all returns. These feel like story-wise at least, like pretty solid episodes from that previous era. And like you said, it does like the 3 things, you know what I mean? Like the Doctor Who
So
does.
the first one is an adaptation, I believe, of a comic book.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, we talked illustrated by Dave Gibbons, who we mentioned some weeks ago.
Well, we did, because we did recently.
4 Doctors. Doctor Who 4 Doctors.
At bigsandwich.co if you do want to check it out. We talked about a Doctor Who comic book. But yeah, that one, I think that one the most really felt like that kind of come to Earth and there's a weird alien and whatever, and you got to it's an invasion of something and whatever, running around, etc.
Sure, yep.
Oh, I wanted to ask you this. What do you think of his new look? He regenerated into these clothings.
Yes.
How do you feel about that? And should he do up that button?
You should do up the rest of the buttons.
Did that bother you?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, I did.
I mean, he's skinnier than ever. He's lean as a bean.
Yeah, he's lean as a bean, and his hair is
better than ever.
better than ever. It shouldn't work, but it does work.
I agree.
Yeah.
What's his deal?
Professional hair and makeup.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's absolutely it. He should button more of those buttons.
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously aged. He's 52, early 50s, whatever it is. But he looks amazing.
I think he said oily 50s.
He's an oily 50. He's an oily 52. I think we can all agree on that.
That's very true.
But no, he's clearly he looks after himself. He's a Hollywood guy.
Or he's naturally thin.
No, Mason, you can't just be naturally thin. You got to do a bunch of stuff, Mason. You got to do a bunch of cardio, Mason.
I don't think that's true. I think it's just naturally thin.
Yeah. And so you don't mind the two tight suits are back and all of that.
Yeah, I think that's fun, yeah.
I like it. I think it feels... It's obviously an update on what he's previously done, but it feels fresh. I don't know how he regenerated into those clothings. How does that work? Mm-hmm. I don't know. Why is he wearing the Jodie Whittaker clothing is my point.
Because it would look silly.
Yeah,
and they'd be like, he's wearing girls' clothes.
Yeah, but that's cool.
You know when Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor was wearing those obviously girls' clothes, a pair of trousers and a shirt.
I do remember that.
And a jacket?
Yeah.
Like a girl?
Absolutely.
Yeah, they wouldn't abide it. I mean, I think I think we'll get to it when we talk about the third special.
Yeah.
But it has I would say generally speaking, I like there's a lot. I think they were a lot of fun, but they do have that the Doctor Who thing of we'll just paint over this.
Yeah.
Here's this
logical
thing that all the mechanics of how's this going to work? Or we said he can't do this, but what if we just say he can now?
Yeah.
it's fine. You
figured it out.
Yeah, and
what if there's a ball catching competition?
What if there's a ball catching competition? Exactly, that's right.
Actually, Nathan Bauer reached out. Who
dat?
He was a fan of the show, and he's got he does a couple of podcasts with Lawrence.
Oh,
Read it for us. He's got one of them's called Still Got Legs, where they do a Doctor Who rewatch.
Okay,
and he reached out and he's like, "Is there anything about this that you're confused or lost? I'm happy to help you out," because he's a big fan and been
of
following.
Us?
Yeah, well, of us, but also Doctor Who and been through this the entire time.
Did you ask him if he's a bigger fan of us or Doctor Who?
I didn't. I'll shoot him that message right now. Actually, hopefully he'll hear this and then he can respond.
Yeah, if he could.
But yeah, and there wasn't a lot of this that I felt like I'd missed, even though I'd lost maybe 8 years of information here, because it's all the Tennant stuff. And I'm I know most of that, or I remember a lot of it. But there was a few there was a specific question I asked. One was there's a moment where in the second episode where it said that he's not from Gallifrey. Okay. And I'm is that a new thing or is that something? And it's from that era where apparently, this is how it was described to me, where this baby appeared from nowhere and had the Doomsday thing where you kill it and then it would regenerate, and they used that to create the Time Lords.
That's the Timeless.
Yeah. And that baby is
the Doctor.
Who.
Yeah. So
he's
not. I think
it was a baby girl as well.
Yeah, this was Jodie Whittaker era.
Yeah.
So the Gallifreyans got the technology to regenerate themselves from this mysterious timeless child, and
from outside the universe.
Yeah, and from a second parallel universe, and the idea being that the Doctor has many lives previous to their earliest memories of so when we see the original Doctor and the old ones,
there was a bunch of stuff.
There's a bunch of and there's also another female Doctor called the Fugitive Doctor who existed prior to the...
And how does that work? So she's from before him, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, right. Yeah. Because I see her in the poster and I'm I don't know what the deal with that one is.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, apparently a lot of people don't like that. But I as an idea, I'm good as any.
Yeah, right.
And they can always change it. He was human at one point.
He was, that's true,
There's a bunch of stuff. Sometimes he's got the stupidest haircuts.
Well, I think I would prefer the idea that he is really no different than all the other Gallifreyans.
I like that
he's
too,
just
he's just Superman.
Yeah, he's he's just one of the guys.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
One of the guys.
He's not. It's not his genetics that make him exceptional.
It's the gun that he has.
It's the gun that is his big gun. But it's not that he's genetically superior to any of the other Gallifreyans. It's just he's got the sense of adventure that they don't have, kind of thing. But this is fine.
And he's been around.
This is fine because I don't care. Yeah. I don't care about this universe.
And they'll figure it. I mean, they hint towards this about a greater outside threat.
That's right. Okay, so let's break these down. So the first episode...
Oh, I just wanted to quickly ask you this. Does he live in our present?
Who? The Doctor?
Is he on our timeline?
What do you mean?
So, like, you know how he's always turning up in the modern day London and being like, what's happening?
Yep.
Is that his base timeline, or where does he mostly live and reside?
So if he was like, I'm going to hang out on Gallifrey, what time would that be?
Yeah.
Don't know.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you
feel
mean.
like he's from now, though, right?
Well, he seems to end up now a lot, doesn't he? Like he collects his companions from roughly now.
Yeah. Not always, but yeah.
Say it is, yeah.
I guess he just likes now.
Likes now.
Yeah.
It's got TikTok.
I don't like it.
And chips.
It does have chips.
Yeah.
He's probably from an era where we didn't have chips. Anyway, yeah, so we'll break it down.
So the first one, a creature called the Meep arrives.
Yep.
And the Meep's very cute.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, saw through that.
Great. Very good. And also, importantly, the Doctor is drawn to, again, present day. Donna is there. And the idea, when he left Donna, he erased her memory.
Because he had to.
Under the belief that if she ever remembered who he was, she would die.
Yeah.
Because of something, there's a Time Lord brain in her brain or something.
Can't do it, won't do it.
Can't do it, won't do it.
Time Lords, as we all know, have two brains.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
if she remembers him, she'll explode.
That's right.
Yeah.
Spectacularly.
Yeah. Yeah, but now at this point, like, she's married, she's living a normal life, she has a daughter, and everybody around her, or her mum in particular, knows David Tennant.
That's right.
Yeah, and she's like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I don't know. Somebody help me. Someone vaguely explain while I'm here. Don't worry, they do.
They do, that's right.
Yeah. This one felt really classic, like Tennant, Tate, like Russell T Davies. Like, this one, to me, the most kind of like British London running around story.
Yeah, right.
That they used to do. You know?
Yeah. Unit is back.
Unit is back. That's right. Yeah.
In the third episode, they have an Avengers Tower.
They do.
It's just Avengers Tower.
It's just the Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
You got all sorts of flying ships and whatever, or just helicopters. I can't really remember. Yeah, for me, like, because it's been so long since I've really watched any of this, it felt like putting in like an old pair of like slippers on, you know?
Sure, right,
it's like, I remember this.
Yeah.
These are fun, right?
Yeah.
This is a good one. Like, it felt a lot like that. It wasn't even, I would say, a particularly like amazing episode. It was just kind of like, this is a nice kind of, these are nice people to come back to. And
we're doing spoilers here, I presume.
Sure, yeah.
Nobody is listening. Look, I think you should check them out. If you've got Disney Plus, they're just there.
Would you check them out if you'd never seen Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so,
would you go back to the really bad ones?
Oh, go back to some bad ones. Go back to some ones from the 60s that most of the episodes have been destroyed.
That's right, yeah.
No, I think this is a pretty good jumping on point. I mean, all you really need to know is he's an immortal time traveling alien, and he has friends from Earth.
Yep.
You know,
I jumped in on the Tennant era. That's when I saw a couple of the Eccleston, but Tennant was where I actually started watching.
Anyway, so the twist is that the Meep he's a real cutesy character.
Boy, is he.
And he appears to be being pursued by some mean, nasty aliens.
By the bugs from Rick and Morty.
That's right, exactly. But it turns out they're the good guys.
They're the good guys.
And the Meep's the bad guy. Wouldn't you bloody know it?
He's got a sinister face.
He does, and little rotten little teeth.
And who's the voice? Is it
Miriam Margolyes?
Margolyes, yeah. That's fun. That's a good inclusion. But yeah, no, again, I enjoyed it. I don't really have much else to say about that. It's just, it felt pretty classic and pretty standard. And it was just nice to see everybody together again. I know people complain about, like, there's a trans character in this now, but who gives a shit?
That's right.
Shut up.
Yeah, pretty solid. I think it's probably, the first one's probably my least favorite of the three.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I think some of the dialogue's a little clunky, but maybe it's the dialogue is always a bit clunky. And you just have to ease into it.
There is some inspirational kind of like corny kind of stuff going on.
And there's a moment where they're like, oh, a man like you wouldn't understand this. And it's like, wasn't the Doctor a woman for like 900 years or something? Wasn't she in space prison for like a millennium or something?
Don't know, maybe.
I don't know. Anyway, it's not important. Anyway, second episode. So at the end of the first episode, the TARDIS gets a little redesign, and then
it's the spooky one.
Donna spills some coffee on the TARDIS, and it goes haywire. Probably should look into fixing that.
Yeah, fix
like
it.
maybe some waterproof.
Yeah. Don't leave the key in it, and then it flies away.
Yeah. Lay some plastic sheeting.
Yes.
on the console so you can spill coffee.
It's a great idea. Yeah.
Anyway, they end up at the absolute edge of the universe, a trillion billion years away from civilization, and they're in a spaceship.
Yep.
And it's spooky.
And there's nothing there.
Yeah, isn't there?
And there's really nothing there.
Oh.
Because something, again, from outside the universe has made its way in.
Yeah.
This reminded me of a couple of things. It's a bit like Event Horizon. It's a bit the episode of Red Dwarf, and this is the Red Dwarf episode of Legion.
Yep.
Where there's this AI entity, and when you arrive at this place, it takes on your memories and abilities, and then
gives you a nice time.
And it gives you form, and like gives itself form, so then it can exist. And this kind of felt like that because these two entities, which are from outside the universe and probably weren't anything, could only take shape when they could copy the Doctor and Donna.
Yeah. There's some good fun practical effects.
Oh,
the big
giant
arms. The big arms are all real. So also these entities, they're sort of vampiric.
Yeah.
They leach out your memories and they take on your form.
Yeah.
And then you have to run away from them.
And they grow real big.
They grow very big.
Get stuck in a corridor.
But yeah, so they are their plan is they know the TARDIS is coming back.
Yeah.
It's going to self-repair and then it's going to return. And if they take on the identities of the Doctor and Donna, then they can take over the TARDIS and they can head to civilization. They can
get up to all sorts of mischief.
Get their arms real big.
Yeah.
Steal put their arm in a soda machine and steal all the soda out, you know?
No.
That's exactly right.
You're not allowed
But
to
those
do that.
big practical, there's moments where they're sort of testing out, you know, they're trying to
find form.
Form, and there's a moment where
they're in fine form.
They're in very fine form, and they have big arms that they're dragging across the ground, and they were all practical, which is a lot of fun.
I think this also had some of the best dialogue and interaction between the two of them, because that's essentially the episode.
Yes.
It's the Doctor and Donna, and then another monstrous version of Doctor and Donna.
And then the Doctor and the Donna get separated, and then they meet up their respective
doppelgangers.
Their doppelgangers, and they're like, okay, well, I'm Donna, but are you the real Doctor?
Yeah.
You know, et cetera. And then but I mean, I think that sort of probably went into deep lore. You'd get more out of that, I think, if you were deep in the lore of that era, like if you watched all episodes, because it's all about, you know, they figure out who's who because, you know, they
know each other so well.
They know each other so well, and I think it's sort of a mystery, and I think if you were very deep into that, you'd be able to follow along way more easier.
Yeah,
and you'd be able to, you know, figure out who's who real quick. You know what
absolutely. I mean? Did you find that?
No,
it was a bit. I thought they did a very good job at that.
I think they also did.
There's a funny little robot in it.
Yeah.
When you think
he's like Marvin from
absolutely
from Hitchhiker's Guide.
And when you think about that episode, there's not really like it looks amazing, but it's pretty much like an infinite corridor, which is parts of it are real and a lot of it is green screen. Mm-hmm. The two of them are robot and some rooms and vents.
Yeah,
there's like actually nothing really to that episode.
Yeah, this is the trapped in a room episode. Yeah,
it feels still very big, and it feels like that ship is bigger than what you see of it.
Yeah, it's like a Red Dwarf.
It's like Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf episode.
That's right. And we just finished our Red Dwarf episode.
Well, I also think it's interesting that they did do pretty much, I was joking, but they really did do the kind of 3 classic Doctor Who things. The second one, of course, is the one that they do when they don't have a budget.
Yeah.
And they're trapped in a vent or whatever.
Yeah.
But they do have an unlimited budget in this instance. But I thought it was interesting. They're like, well, tradition's tradition.
Let's do it.
So we'll do a trapped in a vent episode. You know what I also liked?
Oh, go on.
I also liked that there was a decent balance in all 3 of these episodes of the Doctor knows everything.
He does know everything.
But he doesn't know everything.
Not everything. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because I think, to me, it gets a bit
He did a lot of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
It gets a bit tiresome, I think. There's versions of the Doctor where he does know everything.
Yeah.
And everybody's afraid of him.
That's the same version and depending who's writing that or whatever.
Yeah.
I think Tennant did start the kind of Doctor knows everything. Some episodes, you know?
Yeah, I personally think, and I've talked about this on the
Matt
podcast
Smith?
before, but I think it is the fact that Eccleston and Tennant brought a charisma to the characters. I think it's like a Captain Jack Sparrow thing.
Yeah.
I think they brought a certain charisma to the character that people were like, oh, Doctor Who's cool now.
Yeah.
And then certain people behind the scenes started writing the characters as if they were cool.
Yeah.
But they're not cool. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's right.
So you can't write a character and say this guy's cool and we all think he's cool, because then people are like, that doesn't. Now it's cringe.
Yeah,
then
then it becomes cringe. It doubles back into cringe.
Doubles back into cringe.
Yeah, no, you're right. There was a lot of moments in these episodes where it was like, I don't know.
And there's a point where somebody just clocks him in the back of the head and he gets knocked out. And I'm like, good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad he's dead.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I think this is my favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
What about you?
I probably like the third one the most.
I think the third one kind of comes apart a bit.
Oh, we'll
towards,
talk about
like,
that.
as they resolve the thing.
So at the end of the what I also liked is they sort of tied all these specials together in a sort of in a kind of way. So
would you say you wouldn't even need to watch any of the episodes prior to this, and you could watch just any of these in any order or just one? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'd say you probably have to watch all three in order.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So at the end of towards the end of the second special, the Doctor, he comes to the realization that these creatures are sort of like vampiric. They're like creatures of legend, and he's like, well, maybe we can stop them by running a line of salt across the ground, and they can't cross the line of salt. But then he realizes in the third episode that invoking a superstition at the edge of the universe where the laws of physics are not real.
Yeah, I didn't even make this connection.
The laws of physics aren't quite what they should be. They're sort of like primal and anything could happen kind of thing.
All up for grabs.
And so the fact that he went, let's make up a rule here about salt and whatever. In doing so, he lured one of his old nemesis from another universe.
Barney.
Yeah, it's Barney. And let me tell you, his appearance was legend. Wait for it, dairy.
Very good. Yeah.
So in the third episode,
his old nemesis.
Well, he's an old nemesis who was in one episode or two episodes or something like that from like the 60s. I don't know. I didn't watch it. Nobody.
No, I haven't seen it.
So in this episode, where should we start on this? Maybe at the start.
Well, it's about everyone's on their phones and cancel culture.
See, that's the thing as well. And maybe you're absolutely right. I don't think that what is happening really gels. So the Doctor and Donna arrive in present day.
Yep.
To find that everybody, the world's ending and planes are crashing and all sorts of stuff is happening. Yeah. Everybody's arguing. And so they go to UNIT and they learn that everybody in the world has been infected by some sort of mind virus, perhaps a woke mind virus.
Oh, no way.
Where everybody thinks they're right all the time. Mm-hmm. So but now they're all getting into violent arguments.
But in real life as opposed to
online, exactly. That's right. And then the Doctor.
God, I was really like, like the internet.
That's right.
I got it. I knew.
Yeah, it's real Black Mirror. Very Black Mirror. What if the internet but in real life?
You and your phone.
But not on your phone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the Doctor realizes that this is happening because 100 years prior, the TV was invented by John Logie Baird, the namesake of the Logies.
Beautiful. And
in doing so, the first image that he projected on the television was the image of a doll.
Stooky Bill.
Which is
who's real.
And he was a haunted doll that he bought from the toy maker.
Yep.
From the toy maker's shop. And in doing so...
Barney.
He was Barney.
MPH.
And he's legendary.
Yep.
And in doing so, he set in motion a plan so in the present day, once the final satellite got put into orbit, it connected everybody in the entire world to the internet.
Yep.
And everybody in the entire world subconsciously saw the image of the haunted little weird doll.
Yep.
And everybody got infected by this
the mind virus.
The woke mind virus.
Yeah.
So the Doctor has to battle the toy maker now.
I did find the bit when he first confronts him.
Yes.
And he goes in there and he realizes who he is and he's like, Don, you should go back to the TARDIS. This guy's serious.
Uh-huh.
But then I was like, it's not that serious.
That's right.
You've fought like 100 guys like this.
Then there's a moment shortly thereafter where he's like, oh, you can't beat this guy. I don't even know. And I'm like, you've been up at this for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You beat him. Think about it for another 5 minutes.
Beat him early in another episode.
Yeah, you beat him in another episode probably. I don't know. Well, that's the thing. I mean, if
he doesn't. I don't follow the laws. He follows different laws. I don't know. Just
follow a different law then.
Just
follow a third set of laws.
Open the door you need to open and beat him at a thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. I
like the Neil Patrick Harris's performance.
He's chewing some scenery. I think.
What's the behind the scenes stuff?
Yeah,
and like because he needs to do like magic tricks and sing and like dance numbers and
NPH loves magic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So. And they were like, if we didn't get him, we don't know what we would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have gotten, what's his name? Darren Criss. You could have got that guy.
Chris Angel.
Yeah, you could have got Chris Angel. Could have got David Blaine.
Yep.
Well, see, that's the thing. And I think the toy maker is sort of this combination. He's a little bit Mr. Mixes-Pitalik.
Yeah.
Because the laws of physics don't apply to him and he can do anything.
Yeah.
He's a little bit Pennywise the Clown.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
He's
example.
Just I guess the toy man from DC Comics.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. He's a bunch of stuff.
I saw a comment under the making of this episode, and somebody said the reason that he keeps changing his accent because that's apparently the way that the Doctor beat him the first time by like mimicking his voice or something. So that's why he goes from like German to English to French and
Okay, right.
whatever. I don't know anything about that.
What's interesting?
Oh yeah, what is interesting?
Maybe nothing's interesting.
I mean, you know,
I feel like the drama that the world is in, that everybody thinks they're right all the time, it doesn't really fit with the toy maker's whole deal.
Oh, okay.
Unless it does
chaos and fun
based on the old episodes. But to me, it feels like they went, you know, it'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
What if everybody thinks they're right on the internet, but then everybody thinks they're right in the real world?
Oh.
What if we did that and maybe an alien projected array that made everybody do that, and then the world is in peril because of that?
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Let's put that on the whiteboard. Let's put it over here. And then they were like, who can we get for, let's get MPH as the toy maker and blah, blah, blah. What could he be doing? And they just went, we'll just take this.
Yeah.
It's fine. We'll put it in. Because it feels like if he's the toy maker and he loves games and he loves gambling and he loves all this sort of stuff, wouldn't it make more sense if all the people in the world were playing games for real and they all got deadly or something like that?
Ooh, deadly phone games.
Deadly phone games.
Endless running in real
A
life.
snake's going to come and eat you.
Yeah, man.
You know?
The movie Pixels.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because he does have that thing of like he loves Earth because of all the different games. They make games within games, and even like Tetris is a game. He kind of mentions like a game where
Tetris is a game.
So that's why he doesn't want to leave Earth and whatever. But yeah, you're right. If just people shouting at each other in the street isn't.
It's not really a game, is it?
No.
No.
I mean, to some, sure.
Yeah. I feel that might have been a last minute.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I wonder if they went, well, you know, it's the Doctor versus the toy maker and it's a deadly game, blah, blah, blah. But it's the third episode, so we need the entire world to be.
Do you think they were going to do the Master initially, maybe?
He does mention the Master.
He's in his tooth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It also does a big musical number because when the Master came back the first time,
he did Rogue Traders.
Yeah, he did, and there was another. He did some other stuff as well.
Yeah,
I think.
right,
But yeah, and that felt very because Neil Patrick Harris does a big Spice Girls number in this, and it's quite fun. But that very much felt like the Master kind of vibe. Oh, and so David Tennant regenerates in this, and initially he's just shot by a big laser, and I'm like, that's kind of what a boring way to go out. But then they do something a little bit interesting,
what are the
possibly controversial.
Well, I was going to say just before that, the idea is that the doctor figures out that the way we're gonna have to beat the toy maker is he beat him once back in the 60s or whatever it was, and then he challenges the toy maker to a game, and it's just high card wins. It's a deck of cards, high card wins. And apparently the toy maker is like I like there's a moment in it where where Donna's like, won't he just cheat? And they're both like, no.
What's wrong with you?
Of course he won't cheat. He loves games. Why would he cheat? But then then the toy maker wins the high card, and so it's 1-1.
Yeah.
And then the toy maker decides that because the two games they played previously were with different doctors, he wants to play the third game with a new doctor, so he kills the doctor. And then he regenerates.
That's right.
But he double regenerates.
He bioregenerates.
Aye.
Or whatever it's called.
Now, some would say this is a big cop-out.
It is a big cop-out.
But other people seem to be very excited about it. I've seen long-time Doctor Who fans on Twitter being like, I love this. This is interesting.
I like the idea that David Tennant can just come back at some point. But the other thing is they already set that up.
You know what it is?
What?
Spider-Man Clone Saga.
It is Spider-Man Clone Saga.
Because if people don't know, and if you've listened to more than one
all
episode...
All right, has everyone got an hour and a half?
Yeah, if anybody who's listened to this for more than 5 minutes, I've talked about this before, but they back in the 90s, they wanted to make Spider-Man more interesting.
Yep.
And they're like, should we make him be divorced? And they're like, no, that's too sad. No,
we'll do that later.
We'll do that later. We'll do that in about 10 years. But they're like, what if we revealed that there was a clone of Spider-Man and he was cool and young and single?
Yeah, man.
But not divorced.
No.
So that's cool. And what we could do is we could get original Spider-Man. We could reveal that he was actually the clone, and then he could get married to Mary Jane, and they could have a kid, and they could move to the suburbs, and he could lose his powers, and they could have him go away, and then we'd have a new Spider. We'd have the new guy. He could take over as Spider-Man, and he's basically the same.
He's basically Spider-Man.
But he's cool and single and young, and not divorced. Crucially. Most
importantly.
Yeah, and then they toyed with this for years, and it was a real disaster. And it feels like that. They were like, let's break the Doctor in two.
Yep.
And we can have
our cake and eat it too.
And eat it too. We can have one Doctor.
Yep.
We can say there's still a Doctor that you love.
Yep.
Even if you don't like the current goings on with the Doctor, we've picked the favorite modern Doctor. We've scientifically determined which is the favorite modern Doctor, and it's Tennant, and the one who will still work with us, so it's not Eccleston.
I mean, he seems to love it.
And it's the one who's not going to be in a Morbius sequel, so it's not Matt Smith. So it's going to be Tennant, and we'll have him still around. So if you want to have him do adventures, that's fine. Or if you just want to imagine he's still doing adventures.
Maybe you
he's
want to
still
listen to the audio dramas.
Yeah. But we're also going to have a new Doctor.
Yeah.
And if you like him, good.
Yeah.
That's also good.
Yeah, if that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like they also, as mentioned, they have a Doctor who's human living in another dimension,
who's also
with
David
Rose,
Tennant,
who ages at the rate of a human. So you could also bring him back at any point.
Yeah.
But this, I guess, is the real David Tennant, Time Lord Doctor, who's now taking a bit of a break.
It's interesting they didn't go. It's interesting they even doubled up his TARDIS.
Yeah.
They didn't even go.
He doesn't get the TARDIS.
They didn't even split him in half and go, well, this guy doesn't have any powers anymore.
Yeah.
He's still the Doctor you know and love, and he knows all the languages, and he has all the knowledge, and he's still fun.
But now he barbecues.
But now he barbecues. They're like, no, he's still the Doctor. He can still do all the Doctor stuff.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I guess, and people, you know what? People love Doctors teaming up.
They do.
They love the multiple Doctors teaming
yeah.
up. And so they probably were like, let's build this in.
Yeah.
And we can... And also, this was a lot of this was probably written around Spider-Man No Way Home. So they're probably like,
yeah,
we can team them up later.
Yeah,
we can tease a team up at the end of the next season if we want. If ratings are down a bit, we can bring in some Doctors.
Well, I don't mind the idea of like, and you could do this any number of ways. So this is as good as any.
A bad way?
Yeah, no, it's fine, whatever. Because like you can, I mean, he's appeared before. You just go back in time and you're like, oh, there he is.
Yeah, right.
But this is the way that they can potentially bring this guy back. For as long as he wants to do it.
Exactly right.
Like every...
What if he's like, I don't want to do it anymore.
Fine.
I'm absolutely done.
But it's also the thing that you said of like, he's out there, you know? He's still out there.
He's barbecuing Fast and the Furious style.
That's right. So I think they were going to bring him back regardless. But I think, just do a version of... Why not? Who cares? And they can... Doctor Who is such a mixed bag.
Yeah. I guess technically as well, there's always multiple...
Yeah,
there's always multiple Doctors and multiple TARDISes flying around. It's just these two are now like concurrent on the same rough time area.
Yeah.
Like there's still constantly Tennant Doctor and Smith Doctor and Eccleston Doctor and Capaldi and Whittaker and all the old ones just blasting past each other whizzing past in the timeline.
Yeah.
So and they could all meet at any moment. So
and kiss.
Yeah.
So he splits in two, and it's fun because he's wearing the clothes split as well.
And there was a lot of preview images, and in the trailer, there's a moment where Shooty Gut was like, "What the hell's going on?" kind of thing, and they didn't reveal that he's in his underpants the whole time.
That's also not his kind of vibe, like at all. I feel.
Yeah.
Also, he knows what's going on because, like, he's there.
Yeah.
He's got
that
the same
feels.
memories.
Yeah, that feels like it was just. It
trailer.
was just for the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for the rest of it, he's kind of very collected, and he's very kind of like. He's the healed version of the Doctor.
Yes.
Because I guess the through line of
David Tennant took all the trauma.
Yeah, the through line of this series is, or these three specials, is that this Doctor's been doing this for a really long time, maybe 1 billion years.
Yeah.
And he's really worn out, and he went through the Time War, and all his friends are dead, and the Gallifrey blew up about 5 or 6 times.
Boy, is it, yeah.
And so on and so forth. And he's just his whole deal is just keep going.
Yep.
Kind of thing. And
Don't think about
Gutless
it.
Doctor is here to be like, no, just chill out, man.
Yeah.
It's cool. Everything's cool. Take a little rest.
Yeah. And Russell T Davies is also sticking around to write those episodes. So look for a little bit of the Shooting Outway episodes.
I hope there's just some Tennant Doctor barbecue episodes.
No, we'll love that.
Nothing happens.
Nothing's going on.
Yeah.
Oh, the guy's back. The old guy's back as well for an episode. Then he died.
Oh, yeah, he died in real life.
Yeah, but they snuck him in there, which was...
Yeah,
which
the
was
Bernard Cribbins.
Yeah, and they didn't do it in a weird ghoulish way.
No, but
they did it in a way that
he's right at the end of the second episode, and it was nice to see him. It was like, what a delight.
Yeah.
And then the next episode, he's just out of frame the whole time.
Yeah.
And there's just
shooting ferrets.
There's just a guy in a wheelchair with a Santa beard on, and Donna's like, get him to the unit. Wheelchair to unit.
Do it.
Yep.
Oh yeah. By the way, they beat the toy maker by catching a ball, and he doesn't catch a ball.
Yeah.
Which just felt like that was a bit where I was like, that's not a good.
Yeah, like why is the Doctor inherently better at catching a ball than the toy maker?
There's two of him.
That's true, and they have the same mind wavelength. I guess
that's right. Yeah. And then he folded into a box or whatever, but he was like, something's coming, etc., and whatever.
Yeah.
And it's probably
the Master.
Could be.
In his tooth?
It's probably not the Master. I think they might. They've probably already done it. There might be some Master Doctor Who team up stuff happening.
Yeah,
Though
right,
again, maybe they did that. Maybe they did that.
I don't know. Well, the Master was Missy for a while.
Yes.
But I don't know
And then was a
what
guy
their current status
again,
is.
and
Okay,
I don't
right.
know. I don't know. To be
No, we
honest.
don't know.
It's not about that. I don't need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, all in all, I quite enjoyed this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Best start to a new season of The Doctor ever.
Sure, why
As
not?
far as I'm concerned.
You're gonna watch the Christmas special?
Yeah.
in a week
If there
or-
is one.
I was like, oh no, there is. I was like,
Okay.
when's this coming out? And like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like Christmas, so it's
Nice.
fun. And then there'll be episodes next year and
Yeah.
etc. and so forth. And I'll stick around for some of it probably.
Huzzah.